Yo, what is up guys, your boy IzuKage here with part 2, what if Naruto had a time skip. So I want to start this off by saying I'll be streaming an hour or so after this is posted, so come and hang out if you can. We'll be going through all the characters in this pretty cool My Hero game I came across. Thanks to Rikudo Fox. Yeah, his gameplay is on screen right now, so if that looks entertaining, definitely come check it out. So with that all said, let's get right into the what if.
Talk to me nice, look, dirty, big body Benz, I got you. Scope on the gun, get in like a Mac. I can't fuck with these hoes, these bitches is true. I'm married to things, got niggas attached.
We last left off with Naruto coming off the 5-year time skip to start the graduation exams. So he gets up, he has a quick bite to eat, gets ready for the day. And this time he actually gets something nutritious, not just ramen, because Hit keeps telling Naruto to eat better because he'll be able to live longer and grow stronger. So he just wants to get Hit off his back, so he complies. So Naruto tried out some of the other food Konoha had to offer and they're actually pretty good. No wonder Choji is like obsessed with barbecue grill. So Naruto heads out and while walking to school he passes Ino's flower shop. And Ino, who's just about to get off her shift because she works in the morning before schools, she sees Naruto walking by and she frantically rushes back inside and gets herself ready for school. Inoichi and Ino's mom are watching her and thinking like she must be excited for graduation or something. So when Ino was about to go out of the door, Inoichi said, "Well, we'll see you at school, Ino." And she paused for a minute and said, wait, what? And Ino's mom looked at her husband and said, "Didn't I tell you to tell her?" Inoichi, feeling a bit embarrassed, scratched the back of his head and said, "Well, my bad." Hiruzen is making the graduation exam a sort of exhibition this year to highlight the talent of young students. Ino wasn't too bothered by this, she actually thought it was a good idea, but ran off to catch up with Naruto. And while walking, Naruto could sense Ino running from a mile away, and she tried pushing him but he just sidesteps her and Ino quickly saves herself from falling, like face planting, and says, "Damn it, I missed again." And Naruto says, "You try this every day, it won't work." But Ino looked confident and said, "One of these days I'll finally get you." And Naruto stares at her and says, "Whatever, we have to get to school." So the duo get to their classes and sit next to each other at the back of the class since, Sakura basically kicked Ino out of her seat. So after a while, they're just talking, making up time until Iruka comes into class. And he's really excited and said, "Well guys, it's finally time to show what you're made of. And this year, members of the Civilian Council, clan heads, and the Hokage himself will be watching your performance. So go out there and do your best." Everyone was actually a bit nervous, but this is what they've been training for. So during his time in the academy, Hit has been teaching Naruto about not only his powers but the world he once lived in, of the different friends he made, the difficult decisions that shaped who he was today. But the most important thing that Hit told Naruto is it's about how people see you. For example, when the Stone Shinobi thinks of Minato, they think of this badass that wiped out an entire army. But when Kushina thinks of Minato, he's just her loving husband. And in that same light, Naruto waited until everyone left class when he did what Guy would call a dynamic entry, using his ki manipulation to fly over the arena where everyone is watching and use this ki to make a purple glow around his body, making Naruto seem like a god really. And when people from his class came out, they were entranced by Naruto's display, and when he landed, Ino ran up to Naruto asking, "What was that?" But Naruto remained silent since the Hokage and other high-ranking members were watching, and he wants to keep up that stoic appearance. So Ino huffed and folded her arms and said, "I hate when you do that." Meanwhile, Hiruzen, the clan heads, they were all impressed to say the least, to the point of confusion really, like how is this even possible with chakra? So Iruka went up and introduced all the students. After he did, he said, "First we'll be having the moving accuracy test. So targets are placed all over the schoolyard and one by one students have to go around and hit them without stopping. and if you do stop, you automatically lose. So students went and some of the background characters stopped and got disqualified, while other students did extremely well, like Sasuke, Shikamaru, Kiba. They all went through and hit the targets without stopping. But Naruto is just built different. He went through and hit a bullseye on all the targets and had the fastest time, impressing everyone in attendance. So next up was the sparring matches, and Iruka went with the same group he did all those years ago, and everyone goes and have a light spar, they don't take it too seriously, and Iruka announces the winner for each of the matches. And the third pairing, Naruto versus Sasuke, something Sasuke was preparing for since the day he lost 5 years ago. Sakura wanted to support Sasuke, scream his name, you gotta support Sasuke-kun. But with the Hokage here, she wanted, to be on her best behavior. So once both students were ready, Iruka shouted, "Begin!" And as he did, Sasuke weaved hand signs because he wasn't playing around this time. He said, "Fire style, Phoenix Blossom!" And he shot out 6 fireballs, and Hiruzen was impressed, and so was everyone else. Who would have known such a high-rank jutsu can be wielded by a genin? Naruto, seeing this, ran at the fireballs, and he said in his mind, "I hope this works," and jumps into them, shocking the crowd. Like, Hiruzen was about to stop the match because Naruto could have seriously been injured, but Naruto came out on the other side without even a single piece of clothes, singed. And Sasuke was like, "How does he keep getting around my attacks?" And Sasuke said, "I've had it. I've been saving this one for my brother, but I have to use it on you." And he said, "Fire style, Ring of Death." And Sasuke made a ring of fire completely surrounding the fighting area, and as he was about to enclose it and just completely engulf Naruto in flames without any chance of escape, he took a deep breath because, this is a A-rank jutsu. It's gonna take a lot of chakra, and with the little he has, he could potentially kill himself from chakra depletion. But Sasuke wasn't the only one plotting an attack. Naruto, he said, "I think it's about time I use that technique." And from his mindscape, Hit laughed and said, "That kid barely got through those fireballs and he thinks he's mastered it? It's gonna take a lot longer than that." So back with Naruto fighting, he decided to go on the offense and said, "Sasuke, let me show you how different we are." And to everyone, Naruto was completely gone. Meanwhile, Naruto froze time itself. In this frozen state, he felt an immense pressure on his body, and Hit said to him, "This technique was not made to be used by humans, so it may be impossible for you to move." Naruto chuckled and wiped away the sweat, and he said, "If anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be me." And he got up and went behind Sasuke, and time continued. Naruto whispered to Sasuke, "Behind you." And Sasuke turned around in shock, and Naruto knees him in the stomach, sending a massive amount of ki coursing through his body. And Sasuke fell to the ground in pain, but through sheer determination he got up, but this was a mistake. Naruto punched him in his chest with ki going through him again, and Sasuke fell to the ground. This time, he wasn't getting up. And Naruto was announced the winner. The clan heads looked at each other, wondering what type of jutsu or ability Naruto was using. This has never been seen before, and even it was some form of the flying Raijin, that's done with seals, so they would have probably seen it. So unless Naruto has not only mastered, but made it the 4th Hokage's jutsu even better, this kid could be a prodigy, far greater than the likes of Kakashi or Itachi or Minato himself. So after all the rounds, Naruto was declared the Rookie of the Year, and some members of the Civilian Council were whispering amongst themselves, saying how the QB must have cheated somehow, but they couldn't do anything about it or even prove it. So after that was said and done, everyone returned to class, and Iruka tells them to come tomorrow where they will be assigned to a team and meet their new senseis. So not much happens between that time and now, so we'll just skip to the next day. Back in class, the teams were announced. First, Team 8, Kiba, Hinata, and Shino. Team 10, Shikamaru, Choji, and Sakura. And Team 7, Naruto, Ino, and Sasuke. Hearing these teams, Ino couldn't be happier that she was on a team with Naruto, But Sakura didn't share the same sentiment. She was as red as a lobster. Her anger had finally boiled over, and she went on a massive rant about how, her and only her should be on a team with Sasuke, and Naruto and Ino don't even deserve to breathe the same air as her or Sasuke, calling them vile creatures. And once Naruto had had enough, he chopped her in the back of the neck, knocking her out, and the entire class just thanked Naruto for saving them, the airful. So as Team 7 waited, the senseis for the other team arrived, but they're just there waiting and waiting and waiting. But finally, 2 hours later, Kakashi arrives and he walks into class and sees his team just sitting there patiently, and he walks in and immediately tries apologizing, saying how a black cat crossed his path and he had to walk around the village one more time. So Naruto wasn't having it, and he got up and said, "If you aren't going to take this seriously, then I'll just be asked to be put on another team." And Kakashi was thinking, okay, this kid seems like a handful. So he instructs them to meet him on top of the roof. So they get there, and Kakashi says, how about you guys introduce yourselves? So Sasuke goes first, and he says the same thing, Sasuke Uchiha. And he doesn't particularly like or dislike anything, and what he has is not a dream, because he will make it a reality. He will 1. Restore his clan, 2. Get revenge on his dead clan, and 3. Take down a certain someone, while glancing at Naruto. After was Ino, who said her likes were flowers and she dislikes rude customers. Her goal is to protect those closest to her. Naruto says sort of the same thing as Sasuke. He doesn't like or dislike anything and doesn't particularly want to do anything, just train and get stronger. Kakashi can sort of relate to Naruto because after the death of both his teammates, he felt the same way, somewhat even to this day. So after all their introductions, Kakashi tells them to meet him at the training ground tomorrow and not to eat. So Naruto goes home immediately, and that night he enters his mindscape, and Hit is there meditating like usual. So Naruto approaches him and says, "Don't you have something to say to me?" And Hit raises his eyebrow. Well, he actually doesn't have an eyebrow, just raises where his eyebrow would be and said, "Like what?" And Naruto replies back, he's like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe I was wrong." And Hit said, "I wasn't wrong about anything. You still can't enter the parallel dimension for very long, and didn't you see the state of your body after you exited it?" And Naruto crossed his arms and said, "Whatever. Some of these days I'll catch up to you." Hit said, "Sure, if you live 1,000 years. And Naruto was about to say a comeback, but he woke up out of his mindscape. So he gets ready for his first day as a member of Team 7. He goes to the training ground, and while running there, he sees Ino and Sasuke waiting. And once he finally reaches, Ino greets Naruto, and the two chill and wait for Kakashi to finally arrive. And Naruto's thinking, not this again, this guy's gonna take another 3 hours to come. But it was like Naruto's word yesterday really said something to Kakashi that he really should be taking it more seriously. So he actually comes on time. I mean, not super on time, but he does come within like 5 minutes after Naruto. So he goes on to explain the bell test and says the first two to grab a bell win, and the other goes back to the academy and gets tied to the stump and has to watch the others eat. After his explanation, Ino asks, "Wait, weren't we already put on a team, so what's the point of the test?" And Kakashi says, "Well, you have to find that out." So they begin, and Ino and Sasuke rush into the woods, but Naruto stayed out in the open. And Kakashi, seeing this, says, "Oh, he really thinks he can take me. Well, I'll entertain it." And Kakashi rushed Naruto to see what he's made of, and the two start blocking each other's blows, and Naruto is putting up a good fight. Then Kakashi was ready to finish this and threw a fast punch at Naruto that not even a genin would be able to dodge. But Naruto wasn't there anymore, and he appeared next to him, punching Kakashi in the side, sending a massive amount of ki through his body. And Kakashi groaned in pain and thought, "What the hell is this kid?" And he looked at Naruto, and that blank expression, he's only seen that in the Ambu where hardened killers were. And that show of little emotion, Kakashi said to himself, "I have to take this seriously." and he pulled off his headband, and Sasuke ran out saying, "You're not gonna take my spotlight, Naruto!" And he fired a fireball at Kakashi, who dodged this pretty easily and gets into a taijutsu fight with Sasuke. Now having his Sharingan out, this fight was easier than ever. Sasuke's goal to outshine Naruto made him completely oblivious of the fact that Kakashi even had a Sharingan. But after he lost, Naruto used this as a distraction to get behind him and strike Kakashi over and over in rapid succession, and soon Kakashi succumbed to his injuries and fell to the ground. A couple minutes later, he wakes up and is tied to a stump while the trio eats some sushi, and Kakashi is just impressed by Naruto. He can't even be mad. This kid really is something else. So after that day, Kakashi went to visit Hiruzen to tell him how the bell test went, and this was no surprise to Hiruzen hearing all of what Kakashi is saying, and the two talk about Naruto's abilities and what it could be. I mean, obviously they were completely off, because their main hypothesis was that it was some sort of Flying Raijin spin-off. So for the following weeks, the team did D-rank mission after D-rank mission, which made the members of Team 7 annoyed. They had to save cats all day, pick up trash, help elderly people. It wasn't fulfilling, they couldn't push themselves to the limit, and they made this evidently clear to Kakashi. So when they went to get their next mission, Kakashi brought up how his team, they would like a harder mission. And Hiruzen actually had one already lined up. He was gonna give it to them anyways. So this made Kakashi actually surprised. He doesn't normally do this because there's a requirement to how many D ranks you have to do to start doing C ranks. But this was a simple escort mission, and Hiruzen explains how they will be escorting a bridge builder called Tazuna to the Land of Waves. I mean, it wasn't the danger Team 7 was looking for, but at least they get to go outside of the village. So Hiruzen called Tazuna in, and he's a drunken mess. He's slurring his words, calling people names, he's arguing with the Ambu. So Hiruzen just tells them to bring him outside because this is just an embarrassment. And Team 7 thought that they must have their work cut out for them, just seeing Tazuna in that state. So the next day rolls around and they meet Tazuna at the village gate, and this time he's not a drunk mess. He's sober and profusely apologizes to the team and says that, that wasn't his best look. So now with everyone in a good mood, they set out to the Land of Waves. Once they're about 20 minutes of walking from the village, Naruto and Kakashi notice a puddle up ahead and can already tell what it is. And as the group walks by, the two demon brothers jumped out with poison-tipped claws, but in the blink of an eye they were taken down, so quickly in fact that Tazuna didn't even realize they were being attacked. So Naruto restrains the brothers, and Kakashi just keeps getting impressed by his ability, to say the least. And he wants to ask Naruto how it works, get the secret behind this, but right now he has to deal with the brothers. So Kakashi takes over and throws the demon brothers against the tree and asks who sent them. But predictably, they didn't want to say anything, and by now Kakashi would have been starting to cut off fingers because Kakashi has been trained from this in the Ambu, so he knows how to do interrogation and how to properly torture someone for information, which he would have learned from Ibiki. So Kakashi doesn't want to show his team this soon the true reality of being a ninja and everything it entails, so he swiftly kills the two and says to his team, "I want everyone on high alert because more ninjas with the same intention as these two might be coming. Got it?" And the team said, "Yes, sensei." So they continue down the path, and the more they travel, the closer they get to the Land of Waves, which is known for its frequent fogs, but when they enter this one, it's thick, and I'm not just talking 2 C's, like 6 at least, to the point where they can't even see far ahead of them. And then the sound of something flying through the air was heard, and Kakashi shouted, "Duck!" And everyone did, and as they do, the executioner's blade comes flying over their head, lodging itself into a tree. And a ninja stood atop it and he said, "Who would have thought I'd get to fight Kakashi the copy ninja? This'll be fun." Kakashi looked up to the man standing on the sword and soon was regretting taking this mission. This was definitely not a C rank mission, A or B rank at least. because they had to fight one of the 7 deadly swordsmen of the mist, Zabuza Momochi, wielding the Executioner's blade. But that is where I'm going to be leaving this one off. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. Again, I'll be streaming about an hour after this drops, so check that out. We will be playing this really cool open world My Hero game, so if you're interested, come hang out with us, and who knows, it might be better than you think. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next What If.